5 minutes gone past the hour of 9 on the AM side. How are you feeling today? And yes, it's another time to go conversational. Yes, it is Eagle's Morning Risers Breakfast Show. And on the segment, of course, we talk politics and current affairs. And in the segment as well, we will be examining the conversation centered around and about EFCC recovering billions from refinery fraud as ex-NNPCL officials face prosecution. All right. Okay. My name is Uduak Daniel. And yes, this very particular segment of the Eagles Morning Risers Breakfast Show is streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. Get on there now and see for yourself that what I say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Let's dig in already. Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, they have recovered over 5 billion naira and 10 million US dollars from contractors and government officials involved in a massive fraud related to turnaround maintenance of Nigeria's refineries in Port Harcourt, Kaduna, and Warri. Okay, I should give you the figures again in case you missed it the first time. 5 billion naira has been recovered so far. 10 million US dollars has also been recovered from contractors and government officials involved in what the EFCC calls a massive fraud related to turnaround maintenance of Nigeria's refinery in Port Harcourt, Kaduna, and Warri. Yes, we've been talking about maintenance. I remember quite a number of family members who have said that, oh, should we have the Port Harcourt refineries, the Kaduna refineries, the Warri refineries, and other refineries, the government, if they are willing, would want to put as a laid down blueprint in our live our lives, taking us away from the very infinite poverty that we face, hardship that we encounter on a daily basis. In fact, Nigerians have come face to face with wrestling with even death itself. But all of this could have been averted if the refineries were up and on in full capacity. But yet, it does seem as though the whole entire talk about maintenance and getting the turnaround of these refineries, getting them to work at optimal level, and bringing about the dividends of the renewed hope agenda has or is become a pipeline, a conduit pipe for siphoning monies, embezzling monies, putting monies in pockets that are fewer than the many Nigerians who should have laid claims to these resources in the first place. So the refinery fraud is involving allegations of over invoicing. Well, is it new to me? I don't know. We have seen on countless occasions where contracts are being awarded, but it's inflated. So for little progress, there's so much money to go around, and there are mouths to feed and hands to share. And the painful part is that in the end, most of the time these contracts are left shabbily, they are undone, they're uncompleted, they're left incomplete. And then for 8 years of whoever is at the helm of affair, nothing substantial is done. Nothing we can hold to our eyes, feed our eyes with, feed our minds with, to say, okay, we've achieved this. And then another administration will come in and give us a slogan that is supposed to be a mantra, that's supposed to be the visionary line that should help us. And then they come with their own process of siphoning again, the milking Nigerians dry, Is it because the resources are there? Somebody asked me just last weekend. UD because the resources is too much. That's why all of this is happening. But recall that in 2022, the EFCC had launched an investigation into the alleged mismanagement of funds meant for the refinery's maintenance. I mean, the recent recovery of billions of naira and millions of dollars is a significant development in the ongoing probe. Now, Nigerian government on the sidelines has been working to revamp the country's refineries, which have been largely dormant for decades, despite the billions of dollars spent on their turnaround maintenance. So the EFCC's efforts to recover these stolen funds and prosecute those to prevent similar cases of corruption and mismanagement in the future. But will I give it to the EFCC for this daunting effort? Well, I should. The EFCC is really, indeed, putting the searchlights in some of these darkened corners, especially one with the NNPCL, which quite a number of Nigerians have talked about that, for donkey years. The NNPCL in it, well, we can't say, but there are people who, though few, have some levels of influence on the NNPCL, or very clear. So one question comes to mind. What are the implications of refinery fraud on Nigeria's economy? What implications are there? And can this government ensure that such cases of corruption are prevented in the future? Even though there are talks that, look, if you were to investigate the NNPCL in itself and their activities in the recent past, as well as in the past, that we might still be recovering it as a loot, as the Abacha loot that we keep recovering every now and then. But having to have this conversation with us will be my guest, who is in the person of Sir Benedict Olalekun Agunloye. He is an information professional, a policy and public affairs analyst. Sir Benedict, good morning and welcome to the discourse this morning.
Good morning.
Right. So Benedict, it does seem as though here we are again, just like the Abacha loot, where we keep recovering monies and from it, saying that this billions of naira, this country has decided to let off Abacha loot, and many are saying that we will indeed continue to have these monies repatriated back to us, even in the next 10 years. It does seem as though the NNPC is beginning to take that position. And fearful as we should be, it doesn't seem as though the purpose for which monies that have been pumped into our various respective refineries has indeed yielded the success that we envisaged that it should. I mean, just recently, 5 billion naira recovered so far by the EFCC, and another 10 million US dollars from contractors and government officials. Contractors on the one part, then government officials on the other part. They are involved in this fraud. And this is all about the continuous constant from the Buhari time, from the Jonathan time. We want to revamp the refinery. We want to get it working. At some point, Port Harcourt is working. We jubilated, not knowing that we were just taken for a ride. I mean, what do you make of this? Where are we going with this?
Well, I think that it is straightforward. The first thing that comes to mind is that there is a NEITI in place. That's the National Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative.
Yeah.
With this kind of news coming around, I think that the first thing we should be asking is, why are we paying people to be in NEITI? What is the duty of NEITI if they were meant to ensure transparency in the extractive industry? If you need to go to them to register as a contractor before you can work for the NNPC. So I think that while we are talking about the people and we are talking about the contractors, we need to also talk about NEITI. Then going away, of course, from NEITI, because for me, this kind of report are evidence of total failure of NEITI in discharging its responsibility to us. Because in the entire investigation and in the entire story, we're talking about the contractors and the NNPC. Nobody is talking about NEITI. I think that is not fair. Because those things are possible because there is failure of monitoring, there is failure of following the process, there is failure in ensuring that the standard operating procedure or the due diligence processes are followed up. Now, if that total failure had occurred, then it tells you that NEITI is just a place for people to go and collect their salary and not to render any service to the nation. Because NNPC do more than 60% of all the businesses in the extractive industry in Nigeria. And so if so much can happen in NYSC without NEITI flagging it, then it tells us that NEITI was actually not there to ensure any transparency. Now, that said, we'll come back to NNPC. You say over-invoicing, inflated contracts, and wrong payments. Now, the payments pass through some desk. So I think that some of the people who allow the payments to go through should actually be charged for economic crimes and should be sent to jail, not for stealing, but for dereliction of duties, so that in the future, people who replace them in such offices will know that the last person that was here went to jail, not because he stole, but because he allowed the paper that has not been duly processed to pass. And that becomes a pointer, an indicator, and a warning to people in the future. But if we keep dragging only those who receive the money in the final analysis, then what you have just done is you guys can continue to remain there. But when the pipe is faulty, you expect that the delivery at the other end will be wrong. When you say contracts are inflated, what is happening to the GM procurement? What is the procurement process that has been followed? Who are the people that monitored it? And I think that across board, beyond the contractor, beyond their facilitators, beyond recovering the money, the people who process documents, who issue the letters, should also be punished. They may not have money to refund because they did not steal, but because they allowed the money to be stolen, they should go to jail.
What if we come to
but if you are not talking to any of those in the system that permitted the money to disappear, and then we are just shouting money is going and this and that, I think we are not doing enough.
All right, so
when you talk about inflated invoices, the invoices were submitted through a channel.
Okay.
The invoices must have passed through internal audit. So how many people in internal audit are currently in the police cell for the dereliction of duties? Because until you hold people accountable for their role, it's not just who stole the money alone. It is that every desk those papers passed through before the money got stolen, they may not have participated in stealing the money, but they should be held accountable as well. Because their duty ab initio was to ensure that the money does not get stolen. And now that the money has been stolen, then they have to give account for it.
Well,
okay,
you were saying.
Yeah, so what I was saying is, so based on that, we should drag the net beyond what we are saying now.
Okay.
And like I said at the beginning, NEITI should be dragged into this. And whoever were in charge at those points who did not do the needful should not just be standing and say they are ex-directors of NEITI, but they should be standing trial for having failed to represent the nation appropriately at those points.
Okay.
And of course, you come to the civil society. Because they were witnesses in almost all those procurement processes, and they were paid some benefits or whatever for being part of the process. Now, what were they looking when the contract became inflated, when the procedures were not properly followed, when certain things were not ensured? At least we witnessed the signing of the contract, and by this time, this is where it should be. But the contract has not been followed through. Money has been paid wrongly. The civil society organization who were part of the process, yes, they were just observers. But as observers, you can shout to the public that this transparent, this process is opaque. This process is not accountable. This process is not transparent enough. This process has been diverted. Those are the kind of things that should be. So I think that things should not just be done for formality. It should not just be done as jamborees, but we should do things because they needed to be done.
Okay.
And so everybody, not just those who are found with the money, those who are found with the money should be made to pay back and should be punished. Contractors who have overinflated contracts, who have submitted manipulated invoices, I think should be sanctioned. They should be blacklisted from doing anything in the extractive industry. That becomes a deterrent to others to know that at least in the future, if you get involved, if you collude with the internal people, if you get caught, and which is to be that you will eventually get caught, you are going to not just pay back the excess, but you are going to be sanctioned and be banned from participating in that industry. And the blacklisting will be globalized. We'll publish it. When you do that, it becomes a deterrent to these contractors in the future. But if they get no punishment, you just cut back the money you can get. Then tomorrow they will start again, only for them to just steal bigger and get smarter. But if they know that having failed in the past, they are blacklisted, they are listed on the list of people who have done wrong, on whatever platform, whether it's NEITI or elsewhere, and they no longer can be contractors in the oil and gas and the solid mineral sector, then such individuals will have to think twice before they act. But when no sanction is meted, people will continue with impunity. And that's why we can have about 3 or 4 cycles of refinery repairs. You say the contracts are inflated. Now, if they are inflated, that means you've already added what you want to steal. Then why didn't they still use the actual money and ensure that the project is done? Because if you say, it's inflated and the project is delivered, I'm sure that the people would even have been relieved in a way. But you are not delivering the project and you are even paying more.
Let me take it off from
for
there.
what to be done that is not done.
Let me take
I think that it amounts to wickedness. And in all reality, the people involved should not have access to freedom until they have been made to fully pay for it.
But let me
and if possible, give them some form of jail time, no matter how short, and ban them from public offices for the rest of their life.
Oh, well, somebody will say easier said than done. I mean, if we might have all of these lofty, very intelligent, idea as to what's to be done, but yet will we do it is the question. Does this also mean that we are not of what to do in a lot of, schemes as this? Well, these questions are still hovering over this discourse, but I'd like to point out or give you a bit of some postulations. Now, what would these be? Number one, you know how these things go in Nigeria, right? You mentioned the issue of these things went through offices, people signed and all of that. What if they come from the place of ignorance? I wasn't aware. If my superior had said it was, El Dorado, it was good, let's just do it. I mean, the signature on the document says it's from my superior. It's very legit. I'll have to sign it. What choice do I have? Even if I have noticed the discrepancy, who do I actually report to? And they will come from the place of, my superiors are highly connected people. I go to make a report, I become the scapegoat, and then I've lost my job, I've lost my what do they call it now, my my resources where I get ends meet from, and then there is nothing done about my situation. But then that's on the one part. There is another part that has it, that look, some of these contracts are being concluded upon overnight meeting outside the office, where official matters are being deliberated on at around 12 a.m., 1 a.m., and because a group of people have come together with same interest and goal, and they've decided that they will they will do this way, they will inflate it that way, they will fix it this way, and that nothing will happen. So I agree with you when you say yes. It goes beyond uncovering the monies. I mean, think about it: 5 billion naira, and then 10 million US dollars right there. In officials' pockets, contractors' pockets, and we're just talking these things, and no impunity. There's no punitive measure that has been put out there for these. I mean, so if you're also saying that quite a number of persons whom these documents have passed through their tables should be brought into book, and Naiti should come into this, which of course a Nigerian who's listening now will agree with you. It brings to the place of questioning how many more people are going to make up our prisons and cells should these, advice go through. How deep does this run, this fraud? How deep does it run? And it shows a place of inhumanity from the place of, hey, I mean, if you've inflated the money, you ask that question. If you've inflated the money already, you've added the one you want to steal and embezzle and you want to, use for whatever reason, why not still use the monies that, you've allotted to fix it? I mean, it still goes back to the place of, is this not the current situation of Nigeria in itself, going away and moving beyond the NNPCL?
Yeah. Now, like I said, practically, when we were talking about the AGS some months back, I made that statement as well, that there were internal auditors, there are lawyers who signed the contract. Now, when you say, oh, yes, your boss has signed, and yours is to process. But you need to look through what were the backup documents that leads to the approval. Who requested the approval? If there are issues, it will be appropriate to raise it. You may get punished. If you get punished, hold on. If you get punished internally for doing the right thing, you go to court. It may take some industrial court to resolve it, but if you have done what is right within the rules and regulations, you are sure that you will be adequately compensated. But I think a lot of us are just in a hurry, and we just don't want to rock any boat. As long as your salary is paid and everything is working well for you, you think that is all. But when the refinery does not work, the tanker driver who is possibly supposed to lift from that refinery doesn't get his own. The byproduct that should be useful to some industry does not come, they have to import. So you need to know that action that you are taking, yes, you are trying to protect your own job from being sacked by your superior, but then you are exposing a lot of other people, their livelihood and their job, to extreme dangers, and you are exposing the economy, which eventually, even by keeping your job, when the economy is bad, you live in insecurity. When everybody around you is hungry, it doesn't matter how tall your fence is. It's a matter of time. That fence will have holes that people will pass through and come and pilfer in your compound. So the insecurity we have in the land sometimes is partly created by those who feel they are trying to protect their own daily food and exposing majority of people. Now, the majority or the crowd that you expose, whose stomachs are not resting, will always revolt one way or the other, whether legally, illegally, officially, or whichever means. And that makes the society generally unsafe. So some of the city insecurity that we have is created by people who have regular employment, but think that they would rather protect their own job than to have the general good of the nation at heart.
But would you blame them?
That would be that.
Would you blame them? I mean, would you blame them if my
organ... And that's what I'm saying, that they are to be blamed. They are to be blamed. Because if they sack you for doing the right thing,
yes,
there is still a national industrial court that you go to. Now again, that's where we bring all the civil society into place. Is there any of them ready to be like a safety net to people who are fighting for justice in the respective systems where you belong?
All right, let me put a peg to your thoughts. Take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes,
How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Comrade Salis on the line from Sule Jamal.
Right, Comrade Salisu, let's have your thoughts in seconds, if you can.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy for EFCC Nigeria. They are trying, and God bless EFCC.
Okay.
But how long EFCC continue to cover the one Nigeria crossed before? Because now...
How long what? Didn't get that. How long?
How long? Because this is what I'm saying is that now the people, the contract in the countries are bargain contracts. All the politicians are not coming there to help you. They come here for the money. Many president, governor, every day senator, all of them, they are coming there for money for their pocket. They are not coming there to serve you.
Okay. So
everything is bargain contract. They come to bargain and make their money. How long they are going to use the FCC to try to recover the money in this country? Yes, you work every day. But the recovery is not enough because a lot of recovery, the money that have gone is many. It's many. So we don't know how long the FCC will recover because when you recover, they want to take them to court, they want to arrest them and jail them. Mm-hmm. The government officials, they are going to pardon them. They are going to give them pardon again. So it's also they're going to work overworking. I'm not sure they are trying, but they try. It's not enough.
Okay.
Because the people, the law is to support them. They are not there. The law is not there to support them.
All right. Thank you, Comrade.
So we pray to God Almighty to save this country from the corrupt people in this country, to make our people suffering in this country. We pray to God Almighty to save us from their hand. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate that one now from Comrade Salisu. All right. You also want to add your voice in. You already know the number 0907-353-0044. That's the number to stick to. Once again, 0907-353-0044. And Comrade Salisu is asking the question for how long? How long? When we know that in the end, these people will not be paraded. In the end, of course, there will be no justice suitable. In the end, they will just be given a bail and they will meet all the bail requirements and they walk free. And before you know it, they are walking freely again as if nothing happened and they're still part of the governments, given honorables, given senators, given ministers and all of that. In the end, what is the hope of you and I? That's the question Comrade Salisu is asking right there. So, Sir Benedict, it still boils down.
You see, the cost of non-conformance is always at least double the cost of conformance. That is doing it right the first time. That will be conformance. When you do it wrong, you have to first of all reverse the wrong before you start doing the right. So the minimum is always twice the cost. Now we are talking about EFCC recovery. Ab initio there, when there was naivety, I will continue to insist, in place to ensure that such things do not happen. So it is better to prevent the money from getting stolen than to pay EFCC salary and extra amount, because you won't tell me all the investigation they are doing now, they are not doing it for free. They are earning their salary and they are still earning allowances to go and live in hotels and to pursue accounts and do this and that. So indeed, we even need to look at how much does it cost us, right, to track and trace the money that has been stolen. How much have we lost as a nation, for instance, in tracking Abacha loot? How much are we paying the consultants who are helping? So, but ordinarily, we could have prevented the money from being stolen. That's why the auditors are paid. That's why there are internal auditors. That's why there is naivety. That's why there are other processes in place. And that's why we continue to insist that rather than celebrate EFCC recovery, we should deal with the system that permits the pilfering to happen in the first place. Okay. We should deal with the system that permits the contracts to be inflated. Not just making a scapegoat. Let's have a rounded system. Let's have a system that is transparent enough. If 3 government agencies are buying the same car, the same engine, the same make, the same year, and then they are buying at different prices, This one is buying at 10 million, that's buying at 15, and another is buying at 20. I think it's absolutely wrong. So there should be a cross-platform that can tell us that as of today, if you are buying an IBM, an innocent motor bus, CNG, for 10 million in Ministry A, Ministry B cannot buy it for 12. Ministry C or G cannot buy it for this. So if the prices have already been fixed and the template is issued, then anybody trying to go outside, it becomes a problem. So I think that the procurement and the due process office need to also do more. As long as the fund will come from the government source, there should be a template that says the price for every item you have to procure. So every ministry go there to check the price, and then they use that to determine what they buy. Until we get to such a level, until we do some of those things, I think that will be wrong. A car is a car. An armored vehicle is an armored vehicle. A bulletproof car is a bulletproof car. So it shouldn't be that because I'm buying from Ministry A, I'm buying a ream of paper for 5,000, and then CBN can afford to buy the same ream of paper for 20,000. No, we are both buying in Abuja. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that cross-uniform platform should be available. NAITI should hold it for the extractive industry, which is oil and gas and solid minerals. The Bureau for Public Procurement should hold it for every other government agencies, whether judiciary, legislative, or executive, wherever you are, and the MDAs. There should be a price margin. So if you want to sell your product in Nigeria and you want the government cycle to buy, you should defend that price as an organization with the Bureau for Public Procurement. So the BPP can then be there to say, look, this Nissan car is 5 million. This one is 3 million. That one is that. And when that template is set, you leave everybody to walk around it.
Okay.
So you leave everybody to walk around it. Not that they can do what they like. There should be a balance of pay for work. Not that I supply this, you pay me 6,000. Someone else supplies in another organization, you get 11. That one supply and get 100 for the same item. It should not be. And those are the places and things we should focus on. That is the way to prevent over-invoicing. That is the way to prevent inflation of contracts.
Okay.
Yes, we may not be able to quantify cities, but when it comes to goods, I think that there should be a national benchmark.
Okay.
Especially for the government, where the government is the one doing the paying. And so at every point in time, the reference point can be there. You know that, okay, this is the cost of borehole. Even if it's going to vary by region, you are going to have dealt with it to say, okay, if you are doing a borehole in Akwa Ibom, this is the benchmark. If you are doing it in Lagos, this is the benchmark. If you are doing it in Sokoto, this is the benchmark. So it's not going to also be that somebody will now come and give you the same money, maybe to sink borehole in Abuja where the water table is not too far, and maybe in Lagos where you need to go much more deeper and do more struggle, or in some other places where the rocks are harder. So there should be a survey done, and there should be a template raised by the BPP, which becomes that is partly responsible for the issues at hand.
All right,
and it is not the EFCC that will solve that problem.
Yeah.
EFCC is the but we reduce the temperature. When you reduce the temperature, the malaria is inside. The temperature will rise. So EFCC for me is like treating rising temperature for a patient that has malaria.
Okay. All right.
So we should deal with the root cause of the malaria, which is transparency in procurement.
Accountancy, right? Anyways, let's get last see why as and what the recovery for the number and scope. Right.
But cannot bring in a
All right. Go.
All
right. Justice. Yeah. On a national claim to rebuild the money. My question is, where's those money? Where does the money go that the FCC is recovering? Especially the one at Ikoiha. Nigerians don't like the man, but she likes the man's money. We are corrupt to the grassroots. Time is coming that federal government have to sign capital contracts to army, because army are more disciplined than civilian contractors. Joseph is saying right there, and this is going to be the last that I'll be bringing, and it's coming from Onowu Agbalusia Ngene. Right. Says okay, it says your guest keeps talking and blaming Naiti for not doing their job properly. My question for him is there any government agency in Nigeria today that is truly doing its work properly? Corruption has eaten deeply into the government, and as such, almost all agencies are compromised. They cannot function effectively when the government itself is corrupt and keeps lying to its citizens. I mean, Sir Benedict, I'd really appreciate it if you can wrap this off in 1 minute, actually.
Yeah, I think from everybody, yes, we are talking about not involved in the process.
Right.
But what we are saying is how transparent was the process that went into the procurement, right? Where was it advertised? Even if you say you are inviting selected bidders, which is also possible, head hunting is permitted. People should bid. But where you should not be given the freedom is in determining what will be the price. It is that an apple is an apple. And so if you are buying an apple in Abuja, the Bureau for Public Procurement should tell us how much it should cost. You can then give it to anybody you like to go and buy. Right?
Okay.
But the price will not be higher than what is recommended. So the market price is 500, we are building in 40% profit, and so buy it at 700. So whoever you give it to knows that he is to buy it at 700.
Okay.
So not that you are giving it to somebody to buy for 10,000 when you know the market price
is 500. Yeah, okay.
So I think that should be clearly done. The transparency from the Bureau of Public Procurement should come. The transparency from NEITI should not just be in talking.
Okay.
Should be that I can get on the website of NEITI and know how many contracts they have awarded in the oil sector, in the gas sector, in the solid mineral sector, and who are the people handling them, and what is supposed to be involved. And for instance, if the project is in my constituency or where I live, I can go there and check.
Right,
and actually see that what they claim they want to do is what they are doing.
Right.
And that way, we can nip the issue in the bud. We can treat the cause rather than potentially responding to the effect.
Okay.
That's what I think. We need to prevent money from being stolen. Okay. Not just going to look for it after that it has been stolen.
All right, get that. Appreciate that one from you, Sir Benedict Olaleko Agunloye. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate your thoughts. Right. And yeah, that's how we call it a close and a wrap here. I just want to say a big thank you to you two for being a part of this and allowing, for some spare time to engage in the discourse. In the words of Triple D and every other family member who believes in this, we will get it rightly in this country. My name is Uduak Daniel.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.
Hello Nigeria. Hello Africa. Do you want to work in the healthcare sector? Do you want to be a trained, certified nursing assistant, medical assistant, or caregiver? If yes, then register to enroll for Push Africa's one-year diploma in certified nursing assistant training happening at the African University College of Science and Technology, Abuja. Targeted trainees are unemployed graduates, O-level or ordinary diploma graduates, or anyone interested in working as a support worker in the healthcare sector. For details, log on to www.pushafrica.org or WhatsApp 080-339-42015, 080-550-45801. For registration, pick up application form at our partner radio stations or visit the reception at the African University of Science and Technology, Abuja. Hello.